What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 90s First Podcasting Network. My name is Mike, and alongside my co-host Joe, we take a look at some 90s content that we just can't stop watching. Join us on our flagship show, the 90s First Show. We look at some 90s content that Joe and I are watching, as well as some current stuff, and we end it with a 90s trivia contest. Or join us on Test Your Might, a video game debate show where we battle it out on the current news. Joe hosts as our good buddy Cicero and I try to get the high ground and go 1000 IQ against each other. If you would like to connect with us, we are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the 90s First. And finally, if you would like to support us monetarily, we have a Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/the90sfirst to show general support for as little as $1 a month. So whether you're listening to the 90s First Show or Test Your Might, Joe and I would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We hope that you have a blessed day. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to an episode of Test Your Might. I'm here just really quickly before the episode starts to do our giveaway that we've been advertising and everything. Just want to make sure that we take care of that. Now, I thought that it would be better to put it at the beginning of the video. So actually in the episode, you'll hear me say that it's at the end of the episode, but I didn't want you guys to wait. So basically to enter the giveaway, you had to share an episode of Test Your Might out. And this goes all the way back to maybe like maybe like a month or two ago, and we just dropped the ball on the giveaway. And so, first of all, certainly apologize for that, but I'm glad that I was able to get it done for today. So, without further ado, a $20 Amazon gift card is on the line. We're going to go ahead and do that giveaway right now. So I'm going to switch over. All right. So I'm going to click to spin, and whoever it spins on gets the $20. And first of all, thank you guys so much for sharing the episode out and just like helping us grow. And so we're just really excited for the future. And so without further ado, we wanted to give back to the community. Here's the winner. Let's go. Who's it going to be? Who is it going to be? Oh, it's going to be Jacob, aka Halifax on Twitter. So Jacob, I will be reaching out to you. You have won a $20 Amazon gift card. So awesome stuff. Glad to hear it. And now, without further ado, enjoy the episode. Bye. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Test Your Might, our weekly video game debate show. Guys, this is episode 46. So we're 4 away from the big 5-0. And we got 2 guys here. Love him to death. We got Cicero Holmes. How you doing today? The Mafia Lord himself.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna be seeing her later, so I'll
okay. Yeah.
I'll send her a message. Yeah, I'll say.
Say hi to her.
And then, just as a reminder, newest addition to 90s First officially, we got Justin. How you doing, Justin?
I'm doing great. Just got back from taking a grandpa to the store.
Oh, yes.
Okay. You got a printer.
Yeah, I got it for my kid.
Yeah, I got it for me. Anyway, listeners, once again, thank you for joining us for Test Your Might here. Just a little bit of housekeeping. First and foremost, we had a recent episode released this past weekend on the 90s First show side, review of Batman The Long Halloween, so please go check that out. It's on all the podcasting platforms as well as YouTube. Good buddy Chris Clow, who I met through Cicero, because I meet everybody through Cicero, joined me on that cast, and it was honestly, if you want to just listen to a man who is a genius at comic books, just listen to that episode and you'll understand why we had Chris Clow on the episode. As well as we ask if you would like to leave us a review, either in the YouTube comments or on any of your podcasting platforms. Leave a rating. I know Apple Podcasts you could do a review. Hey, if you leave a review, maybe we'll listen to the show. Listen to the show. Whoa.
If you review it, we'll listen.
Yeah, we'll listen.
We'll read the review. Michael printed out.
Right. I guess on his dot matrix printer.
Well, here's the outline that I printed from my printer. You guys could take care of it. I'll see you guys later. Oh man. Anyway, leave us a review. We'll listen to it, and we might also read it, live on the podcast.
We'll listen to it in binary 0100
Yeah.
001.
Morse code, just
Yeah.
all right.
The
Well,
old dial-up
anyway,
sounds.
if you leave us a review, we would just greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much in advance.
Yes.
As well as
your modems are 1440 baud or even 58 baud, we can work with you.
Yeah.
You got double speed, that 104 baud. I don't know. It might be too fast for us.
Yeah. I mean, we can't do the DSL yet.
Yes, that is true. That's high speed.
Yeah.
are we good? Also, if you
Mike.
shared, what?
You've got mail.
All right. Yo, AOL, bring it.
What is this show?
Turned into Mars Attacks already.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Okay. As well as if you shared our episode last week, as well as previous weeks, we'll have the announcement of the giveaway runner at the end of this episode. So stay tuned for that. And then what I will be doing is more than likely messaging you, DMing you on Twitter itself, and just to let you know if you did win. So make sure to stay tuned for that. All right, guys, let's get into the action after those shenanigans. Now I'm gonna read something, but y'all better listen. This is the question of the week series. We are continuing our favorite game in a genre, and so, what is your favorite video game in the genre of brawler? And so, Cicero, we're gonna go your way first. What's your favorite brawler of all time?
So I want to say Pit Fighter.
Good.
That's what a really cool game that was, because it was like it was kind of FMV because they like filmed the people and then they like all the moves were actually filmed. So when you push the buttons, they would punch and do actual movements. What a really cool game that was. But I think my favorite brawler of all time has to be the classic ultimate of all ultimate classic brawlers, and that's Double Dragon.
Oh,
Because Double Dragon was co-op, and then when you get to the end of Double Dragon, they pull the twist on you. You and your friend have been playing all along. You done spent $7 to make it to the end of Double Dragon. And after you beat the boss, you high five each other. But wait, there can be only one winner. You must fight each other for the right to be the last dragon. It's no more double dragons, single dragons, Double Dragon. Favorite
Double
brawler.
Dragon. That's a good one. It's a classic. It's one of the originals. Like, that's literally what you think when you think brawler. Justin, we're going your way next. Favorite brawler of all time.
I take Cicero's Double Dragon and I one up him with 1988's NES game Double Dragon 2, The Revenge. That's actually my pick. I wrote that down. I feel like Double Dragon 2 was the one I played more. I have memorable experiences of going through and picking up the whip or picking up the nightstick and hitting people with it, throwing knives. But one thing, you get to that second level and there's a buff, steroided out guy. Looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Picks you up and chucks you across the whole screen. And I always have memories of fighting that dude till this day. Double Dragon 2, The Revenge, NES.
That was, if I'm not mistaken, that was the first
If I'm not correct.
Console Double Dragon that was co-op.
Yes.
Original Double Dragon on the NES was 2 players, but single player, right?
Like it would be like Super Mario 3 where you'd play separate. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. You could play on the same screen with Double Dragon 2.
Right.
That's Super Mario to you, Justin.
Oh, my apologies. I can't hear right, you know.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
All right. So this is going to be out of left field, but I have fond memories of this game. Sega Genesis. I played the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, side-scroller brawler, and it was... I loved it. You can choose the ranger that you wanted to play with for certain levels, but then there were other levels that were specifically designed for like Red Ranger, Black Ranger, White Ranger, Pink, all of them. And it was really cool. I loved it. I always had that like right next to my Sonic 2 cartridge. Like I was just playing that game all the time. If I do have to pick a more modern one, I would actually choose the Scott Pilgrim one that Ubisoft made. And Scott Pilgrim was great, so definitely suggest those. But I think just nostalgia and just the amount of time I spent playing that Sega Genesis Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I think I gotta choose that one. So, and even there was even like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Brawler on Super Nintendo that I played as well, but that was based more on the show than it was on the movie.
Yeah,
that changes everything.
I know, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
Oh, sorry guys, allergies. Yeah. Anyway, let's head on into what have you been playing. Justin, you teased us with a story. So you got a story? Go ahead.
Well, I haven't been playing any Apex. I haven't been playing any Hades. Put them both down. I in that Star Wars D&D. That's fun. Messing with Darth Vader. But I picked up 2 new games. One, Kataria Fables, which is a small game. Came out on the 2nd by Twin Hearts, I believe. RPG, Stardew Valley. Top down, kind of like a storytelling adventure where you play a cat going through different dungeons and stuff. Got some Legend of Zelda vibes. But I even put that down to pick up a different game that I've spent a lot of time in so far. Called Craftopia. It's in the preview program on the Xbox. It's been on Steam for over a year. I feel like the creators of this game sat down at a board meeting and said, write down all the games you like and let's put it into one game. It's got so much, from Minecraft to Legend of Zelda to Final Fantasy RPG elements. It's got everything you could ever ask for in a game, and it's just crafting and having fun with buddies and servers. A more third-person game compared to Minecraft, and adult, more adult-themed crafting game, and it's fun. I actually pulled an all-nighter last night playing with a buddy. And
wow.
4th Red Bull of the day.
When was the last time you pulled an all-nighter?
Probably with Mike a long time ago. I know story time, right? But probably.
I remember just I'm gonna tell it just because this is my podcast and I can derail.
The GT it's a Guitar Hero one?
No, actually, I remember Justin was staying at my house one night and it was the weekend Halo ODST came out.
Okay.
And Justin pulled an all-nighter that night, and I distinctly remember I went into my bedroom because we were hanging out in the living room. Went in my bedroom, grabbed my twin mattress, brought it into the living room, played single player, or played campaign co-op with Justin for a little bit. And then I was like, Justin, I'm too tired. And so Justin stayed up playing. I went to sleep on that twin mattress. I woke up. He's still playing. When I woke up in the morning, he's like, I'm like, did you just stay up all night? He's like, yeah, I just finished the single player campaign. It was fun. It was cool.
It was all right. So, it was all right.
But anyway, fun times. Cicero, what have you been playing?
You know what? Not a lot. I've been playing my sports titles. Some baseball, some not Madden, because Madden is broken, and I'm still waiting for them to fix it.
Does it still have that loss glitch?
Yeah, so it's got a lot of glitches. They did pull out a patch that fixed some of the franchise stuff. But there was a lot of stuff that was going on. I currently am playing Face of the Franchise because I'm not going to play the franchise mode until they add the scouting, because once they add the scouting, you got to restart your franchise mode anyway.
Mhm.
But the Face of the Franchise is broken, and they haven't patched that yet. So I haven't touched the game in like 2 weeks. That's that one. That's one.
Sounds
game.
like a good start for this year's Madden.
Exactly. I have been playing some MLB The Show. I finished. I guess I did finish NBA 2K. I won the championship. It was on to the next season. There was no pomp, no circumstances to move on to the next season. And then I was like, oh, that's it. And now I'm done playing that until I guess 22 comes out. I did play a game that I teased, I guess, the last time I was on, that I couldn't talk about, but that game that I couldn't talk about, I can talk about now. And that game was Riders Revolution.
Riders Republic?
Riders Republic by Ubisoft. And it is kind of steep meets the Crew meets some other games, and the mechanics of the game are a lot of fun. The cutscenes and the dialogue and the writing is cringeworthy, but the mechanics are really cool. I think based on what I played, that game would be awesome if it was in Game Pass.
Yeah.
Amazing if it was in Game Pass. Now, if you are someone like me who spends way too much money on gaming subscription services and have Ubisoft Plus or whatever it's called, then it is essentially in Ubisoft's version of Game Pass. But most people are playing it that way. And I think honestly, I think that's the only way to play this game is as part of a subscription service, because it's fun, but I don't think it's worth full price. Let's see, what else am I playing? I'm playing Death's Door. I'm playing more Death's Door. It is getting hard, but I'm still playing it, and I am getting back into 12 minutes. I want to finish that game this week. So I'm gonna hit 12 minutes pretty hard.
Yeah, takes about like 7 to 8 hours, I've heard.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard too.
12 minutes.
Yeah, 12 minutes, taking hours. Yeah. Well, that's good. I have not touched Death's Door, not because I don't want to, but because I just have not had a lot of time this past week. This past week was incredibly busy with school starting and my 4-year-old going to pre-K, so didn't get much gaming time in. But what I did get to play of Death's Door, I was able to like continue like navigating the world and just trying to get more health and more magic ability. And so I've raised my health as well as my magic, and I'm already like halfway through raising my magic again. So it's pretty cool. Now that I have everything in my arsenal of like exploration, I've just been going to all the different worlds that are in the game to just get things before I go face one of the final bosses, the final of the 3 main bosses, and then there's the big bad at the end, I'm assuming. The Lord of Doors is from what I could gather from the story is what I'm going to be defeating at the end. So yeah, I just love the game. It's so brilliant in how they've designed each of the villains. Like each of them has a pattern, and you just got to memorize it, and that's what makes it really fun and unique. Because Each of the villains has a different pattern that you just gotta pick up on and then also execute. In fact, there is a kind of like a mini boss that I fought very early on in the game, and I've absolutely hated this mini boss. I die every single time, and it wasn't until just recently that I figured out his dang pattern, and that the way and like the way that I'm supposed to dodge in order to dodge his stupidly like his hit radius is insane. Like
stupid face.
That's the one I watched you fight like 4 times.
Yeah, I think it might have been like the big like
the hammer
like dude. Hammer. No, not the hammer dude. It wasn't that guy, but whatever. Just finally figured out the big bad's pattern, and then I'm just like, oh, you are incredibly easy now. So, which I like. So, but let me take you guys back because I've been playing a little game called Need for Speed Most Wanted. With my son, and I'm playing the original 360 version. And holy cow, does that game hold up? Like, it is so good. It is so fun. You see DNA of like Forza Horizon, like in this. Like, this is Most Wanted was one of the first to like have more of an open world, you know, as well as like the midnight clubs of the era as well, just to have these like kind of open world racing games. And what's cool about, you know, Most Wanted, it's kind of in the vein of like GTA 3, where like you continue the story and you gain more of a map, you know. And so Most Wanted is it's just brilliant. It's one of the best racing games of all time. I think I would argue that it's the best Need for Speed of all time. And for it to be the first Need for Speed on the 360, and for it to be pretty much a graphical showcase and just a brilliant game, and I love that game so much. And so I've been playing that with my kid. So,
all right. How do you really feel, sir?
I like it. I like it a lot. A lot. All right, guys, let's get into some news. I don't know if you guys saw the discourse surrounding this topic, but it was kind of bad, and we'll get to the good. We'll get to the good part, you know, later. But let's talk about the Horizon Forbidden West upgrade strategy that PlayStation tried to do, and it kind of created some up in arms fans. So, Cicero, got a comment on that?
Look, Sony has been doing these goofy things. So yeah, for those people that aren't really familiar with what Mike's alluding to, Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to Horizon Forever Dawn or Zero Dawn, great.
Zero Dawn.
Yes, yeah, whatever.
Forever Dawn.
Yeah, somebody's Dawn.
Somebody's Dawn.
Somebody's Dawn. It was a fantastic PS4 game. Really a powerhouse visual showcase. You know, yet another feather in the cap of Sony when it comes to their first party offerings. And this is the sequel to that game, which will be released on the PS5, but it will also be released on the PS4. And initially, what Sony was saying was that if you bought the PS4 version, you would not receive a free upgrade to the PS5 version. And people were, I think, rightfully perturbed by that, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense, especially since the precedent has already been set by Microsoft. This is just yet another example of Sony showing that they care less about taking care of the gamers and doing the things that would make the gamers feel good, and engender goodwill towards their console, because they feel like they don't have to, because they're in first. And it was only after the like the vehemence of the vitriol that people that Sony decided, oh, you know what, maybe, hey, if you spend the money on this game on the last generation's console, especially since it's so hard to get this generation's console, when you finally do get a chance to get one, we'll give you the upgrade. We'll throw you a bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Sony playing poor, man. I don't like it. But people are gonna forget about it.
Yeah. So, like, listeners, really quick, just the only way to get, before they changed their strategy on this, the only way to get both the PS4 and the PS5 version, you had to get like some like ultra collector's edition,
right?
Yeah,
right.
which was like $200 or whatever to get both versions. As Cicero alluded to, they have already switched that stance, and Verizon.
It's a racing game now.
Horizon Forbidden West will now have a free upgrade, which, if I'm doing the math correctly, you don't have to spend $70. Just buy the PS4 version, and you will get the PS5 version.
Correct.
So, Justin, quick thoughts on this, and also talk about their future, because Jim Ryan did say in that article that they will also now be charging $10 for future titles. So, like, for example, if you buy God of War Ragnarok, the sequel, on the PS4, it's going to be an extra $10. What do you like? What do you think about this strategy?
Last year they had record numbers. Sony had record sales last year. They did 25 to 30 billion dollars in sales. Sony. And I would be less critical if this was like a third-party game, but these are first-party games that they own the rights to. They own the licenses to. They're making all the money. They're not owing anyone money. And it's like Cicero said, it's another sign of them treating their players and their customers and their fans poorly. And it's sad that they even had that thought. Hey, let's people that don't know about it, you're gonna have to pay for the game twice. And it's really sad, when you've got smart delivery on the Xbox for years now, where you buy a game on the 360 and you own it for life, and they've been having that backwards, even on PC with, run as Windows XP or run as Windows 95. You could use all those old programs. They've been doing it for years. And Sony wants the cash from their first party games that badly. It's sad for the fans, but their strategy for future games, a $10 upgrade, it's still going to be an extra charge. Games are going to go to $70 no matter what. I feel like even Xbox, is going to go to $70 per game, but to have that extra charge just for the up res, you'll never ever see that on a PC. You'll never see microtransactions telling you, hey, you need to pay $10 to get 4K and ray tracing. You'll never see that. And Sony just wants that extra little bit of change on their first party titles. It's it's just another tip towards Sony in the bad way. The last one that I had like that was for the MLB. Whole like Xbox got it for free and they don't want to give it to their home fans for free. It's sad, but they don't have to. Cicero said it before. They don't have to do that.
Yeah.
People will pay the money if they want to play it on their console. And
Game Pass was also an MLB decision for that game, not necessarily Sony's.
No.
But
yeah, that's it could have helped their fans out. They could have, and they could have tossed their fans about. Yeah. But I feel like State of Play is going to really turn their tide coming up soon.
Oh yeah, I mean, they did announce a new showcase, which we'll debate about a little bit later in the show, but yeah, I mean, the stuff that the show that they bring next week, almost gonna forget about. I mean, honestly, this Horizon Forbidden West stuff is probably already forgotten about in a lot of people's minds because it was taken care of. Cicero, final thoughts on the $10 upgrade path for future titles.
They're gonna do it. You're gonna pay it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't stop that. It doesn't seem when your competitor is doing the same thing, but not charging them, it makes it really difficult for you to be able to justify why it's necessary to charge people, but they're doing it anyway. And you know, they're going to charge you, you're going to pay it.
Yeah, it's kind of almost that Nintendo mindset that, like, you know, Nintendo games stay at $60 for years. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. I do know that, you know, same with Xbox thinking that they can, you know, upcharge their Xbox Gold service, and stuff like that. Like, if you know, if you're listening to this, if we, the gamers, are vocal about it, you know, there can be change. So that's another evidence about this upgrade debacle. So really quickly, I know that I don't know if you guys watch a lot of streamers or, like, you know, some of the bigger names like Tim the Tatman or Dr. Lupo, but I thought it was interesting to have, like, a small little discourse. Tim the Tatman and Dr. Lupo have signed contracts to solely be streamers on YouTube Gaming instead of Twitch. And I don't know if Cicero probably more so than you, Justin, but, like, the discourse around Twitch recently is like it's extremely bad. And so this is just another thing that is on top of their bad pile. Like, Twitch is experiencing hate raids for smaller streamers. Twitch isn't vocal about the changes that they're actually bringing, or that they actually want to bring to the platform. And Twitch is just not really doing the best of job to keep people of color, like minorities and, like, the LGBT community and all of those people safe in a generation where it is hard to be safe on the internet, right? And so with these, like, movements of, like, Tim the Tatman and Dr. Lupo going into YouTube, Justin, like, what do you think the discourse is going to be for YouTube Gaming as well as Twitch in the future?
I think that YouTube is going to open arms. You know, YouTube is getting stronger in the gaming culture, and I think Twitch is on the downhill slope. Honestly, it's sad to think that we're going to lose another streaming service, but I think Twitch is down, and they're not doing anything to recover. I really feel like they're just letting themselves go downhill in an avalanche, and it's sad to think that, because so many people use Twitch every day. But yeah. I think that YouTube is picking up the pieces and putting the puzzle back together for these smaller streamers and big time streamers to come in and thrive and be respected, you know, and feel safe. I really do think YouTube is the future. Unfortunately, Twitch is going to turn into another one going down.
Now, Cicero, before you chat, I do believe Twitch is going downhill, but at a very, very slow pace. Like, we're talking extremely slow. The gamers are still there, the viewers are still there, but at the end of the day, I think YouTube Gaming is going to be a lot more viable come the future. Cicero, thoughts?
I have them. So
good.
I agree with you, Mike. You know, Twitch isn't going anywhere anytime soon, because it's owned by Amazon, right? So when you're owned by one of the wealthiest companies in the history of the earth, even if you've got a product that you're trying to push and it's not doing well, you can continue to push it, even beyond when it's viable. So I don't think Twitch is beyond repair.
I agree.
But they're not reactive.
Yeah, they need to make the right moves to fix.
They're not reactive about what is happening and how to fix these things, even when the victims of these things are telling them, or giving them ideas about how to best combat what's happening. And you know, some of those things are as simple as limiting the number of accounts that an email address can have to one instead of three. And for whatever reason, Twitch is saying, well, we don't know if we can do that. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't show a lot of transparency. I don't believe going to YouTube is going to make that much of a difference unless Google and YouTube become very serious about modding and about really kind of controlling the things that have been problematic on Twitch. The hate raids and all of the other goofy things that are happening over there. So I'm not necessarily that optimistic that moving to a different venue is going to change what we've witnessed. But it at least will give some of those people, if they jump over, a respite from it, because the trolls haven't moved over yet. Yeah. So, but we're talking about two companies in Google and Amazon that have the money to do whatever it is that they need to do in order to make these places as safe as humanly possible. It's just a matter of whether or not they're going to put the efforts and energies into making those things work. I do believe that Google has more of an incentive because YouTube as an arm is something they pay attention to more. It's more of a revenue generator than Twitch, even though I think Twitch is probably a good revenue generator for Amazon, but it's never going to beat the other big things that Amazon is doing. So whether or not, the powers that be in Amazon are paying attention to what's going on, the minutia of Twitch is, I guess the answer is clear that they're not. And whether or not they will is up for debate.
Yeah, I mean, I hear everything you're saying. YouTube gaming definitely has a lot of the same things functionally as Twitch, and in some cases even more. Like you could stream at higher resolutions, you can save your VODs at higher resolutions than Twitch right now. And really, YouTube right now functionality, the only thing that they don't have that Twitch has over them is gifted subs, gifted memberships. Like you physically right now, you cannot go to YouTube, you cannot go to Tim Tam stream and gift him members to just like random people like Twitch does. And so the gifted subs are huge for Twitch. And so with that being said, and me, I used to be a small streamer. So I do know, and if you want my 2 cents here, if you're listening and you are a streamer, like I do believe that for small streamers right now, Twitch is still the place to go, but you also need to be making content somewhere else, like YouTube. Tim the Tatman swears by making TikToks, like do TikToks and then gain your following at TikTok and then go stream and stuff like that. So there are avenues, but Twitch has got to step up their game, and YouTube seems to want to step up their game by paying these big guys some big money. I mean, articles that I've been reading, interviews of Tim Tamman and Dr. Lupo, they're saying that it's retirement. Like the contract that they signed, they're set for life. So
there you go. Well,
so I mean, YouTube is in.
I would take anyone.
Right.
YouTube is in it for the long haul. So, all right, guys. Yeah.
I think though, what is life-changing money for Tim the Tatman is an accounting error for Google. So I don't know, I don't know if they're in it for the long haul, but I do believe that they're giving it a shot. They're going to throw some money at the problem and see what they can do.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, guys, it's time for the namesake. Test your might. You guys ready?
Oh yeah.
You don't know if you're ready, Cicero?
I was born ready.
Test your might.
All right, guys. We got some fun debates today, including a special final debate. So, listeners, stay tuned for that. But first, gentlemen, Game Boy and Game Boy Colors What?
Oh, shout out to Julie Chen. You said.
Oh yeah,
first.
I thought that's what you were gonna say, and then I was like, okay. Also, shout out to Damon Hatfield from GameScoop. He says that. Game Boy and Game Boy Color games could be coming to the Nintendo Switch Online service. So, what game is a must-have for the lineup? This game needs to be on the Switch, Game Boy or Game Boy Color. Justin, we're gonna go your way first. What do you got?
I think what I chose is a good one. Shout out to Jelly. Very good one. Sad he can't be here today, but it's okay. We got someone better. We got Mike here.
But I don't know. I'm calling Horizon Forbidden West for Horizon.
It's your DSL, it's okay. What I picture as the number one game that needs to be on there, no matter what, even if it's not the best, even if it's not the top seller, well, it is. But the game that I chose is from 1984, and that's going to be the original Tetris, the original game that still is played to this day with a great soundtrack and one of the best puzzle games ever created.
It was from 1984, but on the Game Boy, it's from 1988.
All right, so moving a little forward, but
there you go.
Tetris.
I will not hold that against you. That is dates. Got anything else on Tetris before Cicero chimes in?
They've remade it with Tetris 99. They've made so many other puzzle games coming out, like Puyo Puyo came in there, and that's on the online right now. They've got puzzle games up the wazoo, and Nintendo loves them. And to get the original soundtrack and the original gameplay, 2-player mode, it'd be killer.
Cicero, must-have Game Boy game on Nintendo Switch Online.
So yeah, so we're talking Nintendo Switch. We're talking Nintendo Switch Online. We're talking about being able to play multiplayer games online with your Switch. And obviously, if we're going to be playing some Game Boy games, some Game Boy Color games, we're going to be playing some Pokemon games, right? We have to have a Pokemon game available on the Switch from the Game Boy or the Game Boy Color. But the Pokemon game that I am going to suggest is a game that mimics your lunchroom experience, and that, of course, is the Pokemon trading card game. Pokemon trading card game is a must on the Switch.
A little bit out of left field.
No, it actually it did cross my mind because I did play it a lot, and I was thinking Pokemon as well, and I thought trading card game is a good pick, but I really don't think it beats Tetris. I don't know. They're both great games, but I think Tetris wins that cake. I don't think Pokemon trading card game will hit enough fans. Yes, it's a nostalgia feel, but not as big as a nostalgia feel as the original Tetris would be. And with multiplayer, you're saying Tetris 99 is already a thing. They know how to make Tetris multiplayer. And let's take that Battle Royale crap out of it and make it original. Yeah, you could play trading card game with friends back and forth and build your deck, but I think Tetris would hit more homes.
Well, so you almost could be right. The problem with Tetris as a game going forward on the Switch is the formatting. Right? That game was a 4x3 game. And it is now 16x9. But 16x9 Tetris just doesn't look right. It would still have to be 4x3, and you've got these giant walls on the side. So yeah, you get that retro feel, but do you want to pay full price for the retro feel? Or do you just want to be able to, maybe $1 or $2 or something like that? But Pokemon trading card game is a deck builder in the Pokemon world. So all of those kids that are playing Magic the Gathering, all of those kids that have become intrigued by Marvel Midnight Suns can come back to Pokemon. And like I said, man, it's like being in your lunchroom all over again on your Switch. So you've got the touch screen, you've got the controllers, you're doing the stuff online, you can play with your brother, you can play with your best friend across the town, you can play with your old college roommate that lives across the country. All of those things can happen. You can play with your friend who played ODST all night in your living room while you fell asleep. You can trade your Pokemons.
Am I supposed to play if I'm asleep?
Now, I understand. I understand where you're coming from, sis. I do. I understand that you could play with anyone, and you could play this trading card game with the nostalgia feel with anyone you want.
Right.
But that game is all RNG. There's no skill based other than playing your cards properly.
Right.
Tetris takes skill to win. Okay. Tetris isn't a game that you just rely on opening packs after winning battles. Okay, you're sitting there and you're playing skill based. You know what I'm saying here.
So you got the skills. You got the skills to drop your blocks and stuff like that. You're talking about RNG. Those pieces randomly show up, and I think maybe it's not RNG, right? Maybe it's not random, because they always give you the ones you don't need before they finally give you the ones that you do need. So maybe that's it. But there's another element to the Pokemon trading card game that you touched on. That's a big deal, right? We're talking about streaming. We were just talking about streaming. Just talking about streaming on Twitch. Talking about people migrating over to YouTube gaming, right? That's one of the biggest things in TikToks, in YouTube gaming, in Twitch right now, and that is deck pulling. You've got your Mutts players, your FUT players, you've got all that stuff. You're talking about Pokemon trading card game, and you've got card pulls. Man, people will sit and watch streams of you and your card pulls all day long. All day long.
You're talking about your digital card, your card packs that you win after battle?
100%.
Now,
100%.
You also touched on display. Both these games look terrible stretched to the new screens. I've played with it stretched, and it's terrible.
Oh, you can reformat the trading card game.
Regardless, there's going to be borders. No, it's going to be old school trading card game. There's not going to be any reformatting or remastering. It's going to be classic.
I'm calling it. Justin, you almost had it with the. I do believe Tetris would be in more homes if it was on Switch, but Cicero beat you on that last point. I don't know if you do know that, but deck pulls are huge right now in the world of anything. Yeah. So I think he got you on that last point. You could have mentioned that there is already an online version of Pokemon trading card game that people stream all the time. So you could have mentioned that, but you didn't. All right. Next one on the list here.
That is formatted properly.
that is 16 by 9. All right. Cicero on the board with one. We go on to the next. We already alluded to it. Foreshadow, if you will. PlayStation has announced a summer showcase for September 9th. Now, Cicero, I'm reminding you here. I got it in big letters,
right,
to remind you about your debate with Tony.
Okay.
What would be the most surprising announcement? Surprise me, gentlemen. Cicero, you're first, my friend.
So you're reminding me to remember something that I said to Tony that would be a surprise. I'm surprised that you remember, because I forgot.
I knew you'd forget. You don't know what you're having for breakfast tomorrow.
Right,
so
right,
it's-
Go on that dialogue.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I faxed you that podcast episode.
Oh, did you?
And,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Even though you were on it,
Yeah.
I faxed it.
You faxed the transcript?
I faxed
it's
the
still-
podcast episode. Yeah,
Right, it's still collating right now. It's going through the modem. Boop.
All right, Cicero. Most surprising announcement.
Most surprising announcement. So the most surprising announcement, I think, will be the creation of a Game Pass like subscription service for PlayStation. PlayStation Now Plus Ultra.
Ultraman.
Yes.
All right, Justin, go ahead and then we'll duke it out.
I do think we have talked about that before, the PlayStation Plus Ultra, but I don't think PlayStation will ever do that because they're not going to follow. They're going to do their own thing. My most surprising announcement would be an announcement of a game, a new game from an old series, a new Killzone game.
Be surprising. Duke it out, Cicero. Go.
That would be surprising, because isn't the studio closed?
Yeah, they retired. They announced retirement.
Gorilla.
Yeah, in 2013 was their last game, Shadowfall. They're in retirement now, so they said no.
Right.
That would be surprising.
Killzone is it? Hang on, Killzone is in retirement. They're busy making for Horizon. I did it again.
Horizon.
They're busy making Horizon. They're not retired. The studio is still alive and well. Go ahead, Cicero.
Yeah. So,
Horizon.
These damn Horizons. I can't do this.
So we've already heard mention that who was it that came out and said it? Oh man, I can't think of his name now.
What did he say?
He said that the person that I once interviewed said that that Sony is coming out with a Game Pass competitor. David Jaffe is the guy's name. And David Jaffe came out and said that that Sony's got a Game Pass competitor in the works. It is coming. So let's talk about what PlayStation Now Plus Ultra is. And so what it is a way for you can pay a subscription price to gain access to all of Sony's first party titles. Right? So you're already able to do that for many of the PlayStation 4 titles that were available for the PlayStation 4. If you have a PS5, you can get many of those exclusive titles already, but they're going to incorporate that plus the PS5 first party titles, and I think they're going to start working backwards, getting the PS3 titles, getting PS2, and getting PS1 first party titles to be available and downloadable for your PlayStation 5 via this subscription service.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's brilliant. I won. Thank you.
All right. So Marvel Midnight Justin, go ahead.
So you said that you interviewed that one guy that one time, and he said that one thing.
Yeah, he did.
Which kind of ruins the surprise, doesn't it? Because you already know it's going to happen.
Well, I just know that David Jaffe said that it was going to happen.
So it's not a surprise anymore.
Well,
because
David Jaffe doesn't work.
Killzone new game would be something out of left field. That would be pretty surprising, is what I'm saying. You know, their last game was 2013. It's been a while. You know, if with all the Call of Duty debacle and the Battlefield game coming out, for Sony to come out with a game set in the future instead of the past with first-person shooting, I think that would surprise everyone to see this company come back strong with the new 4K high-res detail PS5, aspect. And, it's going way back. Their first game was on PS2. So it's bringing something back that fans miss and wish there was more. They want to get the roots back. That you said they're going to work on getting the back catalog, what Xbox has been doing with Game Pass for a long time. But starting with a game that as far back as PS2 and bringing it to the new age to start the revolution of a first-person shooter experience on PlayStation, which is what it was supposed to do in the first place. I think that would be a big surprise for an announcement of a brand new Killzone game to come out.
Okay, well, that would be a big surprise, but a bigger surprise, I believe, is a viable service from Sony that actually makes sense that people would want to subscribe to. Because they've already come out with PlayStation Now. And PlayStation Now it was I don't want to say it was doomed to fail, but it wasn't streamlined for success in the way that Sony thought it was. And I think that it's gamers' ambivalence with the service is not surprising. So what I think would be surprising is if Sony came out and said, "Hey, we've got an idea, guys. We see that you like subscription services. So we want to provide you with a subscription service that makes sense for you, the gamer." And why that would be so surprising is because we just talked about the very first thing we talked about from a news perspective was how Sony doesn't really feel like they need to cater to the gamer, that they need to do the things that will engender goodwill with the gamer. So them coming out in the state of play this week and saying, "Hey, you, for $9.99, you can get all of the first party, $9.99 a month, you get all of the first party games." That's what we do best. Everybody knows that what Sony does best is make great first party games. For $10 a month, you can have access to first party games on the PS5. You've got access to the first party games on the PS4, and we're working on, by E3 next year, we're going to have 100 exclusive PS3 titles, and we're going to work on the PS2 and PS1, and going forward, as long as you're part of the subscription service, all of those things will be unlocked for you, and people would lose their minds. That would be surprising.
I sadly disagree, because honestly, even if they got all the back catalog, even if they got all those old games, you don't have cloud saves. People would be playing from day one as if they never played it before.
Well,
and they wouldn't get those save files.
So the old games, yeah, sure, but you're going to get cloud saves. Of course, you're going to get cloud saves.
And then you said it's going to be $9.99. Isn't that the charge to upscale your games to your PS5 version?
Sure. So you can pay a one-time $10 fee for one game, or every month you could give us $10 and you can get the new version of the games.
I'm calling it. Justin, I think it's Cicero's night for a couple of these here. I think he's got you on that. I do believe Killzone would be extremely surprising.
It would be cool.
But I think the wrinkle that Cicero brought in was something that I don't think they will do. That I don't think Sony will be. I think Sony would announce that, but what is going to be the more surprising thing is first party titles going in there. I just don't. Yeah. I don't see that happening, but that would be surprising. All right,
that would be the most surprising.
Cicero, we got you on number 2 as well. All right. Justin, let's see if you can bring it back here. Marvel Midnight Suns has card elements to its tactical gameplay, and it has a decent amount of people divided on it. So, do you think this is a good addition, or is this game now skippable? Now, you choose one of those. Cicero will have to argue the other one.
I'll take the skippable route.
All right.
Okay. Speak to it, my friend.
I feel like, Marvel having their greedy hands in here, Disney having their greedy hands in here, FIFA, Madden, all the sports games have their fantasy cards, and they make big money with lots of microtransactions.
Right.
And I feel like they're going to take that route with a Marvel game, something that I was looking forward to. And now I feel like, you're going to collect cards? Oh, you're going to pay to win? I don't think it's going to be good for them. Card unpacking is huge nowadays, but I don't think that it's a good decision to put this in a game that was supposed to be an XCOM tactical shooter strategy game, strategery. And I feel like it's just a cash grab, and it's too much. It's taking a niche that shouldn't be in this game and adding it just to collect cards, just to have the best set of cards for your game. I don't think that's a good thing.
Cicero.
Guys, Justin, what's the best-selling sports title in the world annually?
I'm gonna guess FIFA. I'll probably be wrong. Oh, no, I was.
You were correct, sir. What is the premier mode in the best-selling sports title annually?
I'm going to lifeline to Mike. I don't play sports very much, but I think it's Ultimate Team.
You are correct yet again, sir. You don't need to know. And that's, that only goes to further my point. You don't need to know a lot about sports games. You don't need to know a lot about the specific titles to know that those modes exist and that they are extremely successful. And here is what they're doing with Midnight Suns is they're taking a genre that people were really excited about in this kind of this XCOM strategy, and they're adding this other element to it that people seem to be hypnotized by, right? Yeah. It's not pay to win, it's pay to pay. And that is the difference. Like you're not guaranteed a win when you pay for the cards, but what you are guaranteed is you're going to get a deck pull that you can look at and try and figure out and work really hard so that you can chase the next carrot to get to the next deck so that you can get the pulls to see if you can get the cards that you need and rinse and repeat and put them in the auction house and do all that stuff. This game is going to make a lot of streamers very popular because it's got Marvel and it's got deck pulls. And if you can sit back and say, all right, my 2-hour stream on Monday is going to be me pulling decks. And then on Tuesday, my 2-hour stream is going to be me playing with the cards that I got from the deck pull. And then on Wednesday, I am pulling more cards from the decks that I got. And then I'll have a giveaway for more decks. And we can talk about strats. And we can talk about all the new things that are coming out. And the Diamond Jubilee, Opal Jubilee card that's coming. Like, all of those things are going to be huge in the streaming and like zeitgeist, the conversation around this game.
I understand the hype with, fantasy teams and ultimate teams from sports games.
Right.
I don't believe Marvel needed that to win to win fans. I don't think they needed that to hit the top of Twitch play. I think that with the Marvel characters in a game that's new and a unique new experience, I think it would have hit it without the card-based microtransactions. And yeah, having pack giveaways is great, but we already have phone games that have Marvel characters that you pay millions, people pay millions of dollars and get cards and cards and cards and just play for fun. We didn't need another one of those. We wanted a game that you would buy, play through, enjoy the experience without having microtransactions in it. Cosmetics, sure, but not cards and players and characters that you need and want to get to make your team better. That's not what this Marvel game was supposed to be. It was supposed to be an XCOM, strategic strategy game, and I feel like they're ruining it by adding this new aspect that didn't need to be in that niche.
So you're saying that because there are games on the mobile platform that do something similar, that 2K, Firaxis and 2K shouldn't have put their hands in that pot to get some of that money. And you're saying that what we wanted was an XCOM game, what we wanted was a game that was strategy, and we don't want this other part of it. But I mean, it could be both things, right? Like you can have a great strategy game, but by all accounts, right? There is nothing that leads me to believe that the strategy elements of this game will not be superb, because they're coming from the guys who do it the best, right? The guys who made XCOM are the guys that are making this game. So I have no reason to believe that the strategy elements won't be superb, won't be anything other than superb, right? It just doesn't make any sense for it not to be exactly that. But what we're adding now is this extra element that keeps people engaged. You say Marvel doesn't need extra fandom, but who's playing Marvel games right now, right? We've got Marvel's Avengers,
Spider-Man.
but they can't keep people around. Spider-Man is a brilliant game. Spider-Man, mm-hmm. Nobody loves Spider-Man more than I do, mm-hmm. right? But once that game is over, it's over, right? This is a game that you can continue to play, right? Because of the nature of these decks, you will always have a reason to go back and play mm-hmm. some more, and you will be incentivized. If you are one of those types of players, you'll be incentivized to go back and play it on stream and get your community to watch you play, because they want to see you pull the best cards. And you're incentivized to keep doing it because there will always be new best cards to get.
Well, I understand if the cards would be cosmetic changes, but I feel like having characters that you pay for is going to change the multiplayer gameplay. And I feel like people that don't have cash to spend, watching streamers get great pools and watching streamers get all the stuff they want because they have money to spend, and then they go into a multiplayer match and get destroyed, I feel like that's going to ruin the game for a lot of players. And they don't want to see Marvel get ruined like that.
Yeah, they don't want to see Marvel get ruined like the Avengers. I wonder if the scenario that you point out is one that's going to happen. I would hope that they will have thought about that. But to me, it just seems like a slam dunk. This is the way, if you're reading the tea leaves of the way people either play games or consume games that are being played, this is the perfect marriage of both of those things. Because if I'm a streamer, this is a game that I can play because it's a turn-based strategy. I can stop, I can turn and look at the camera. I can talk to you guys about what it is that I should do. We can discuss mm-hmm. together what moves I should make. We can make those moves together, and my community now feels like they're a part of my story as we continue to move forward. And then the fruits of our labor is that we wind up getting packs. So you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money, physical money. You just have to spend time and energy. And that's how these deck builders, these ultimate teams, that's how they really work. Yeah, sure, you could go out and spend 20, 30 bucks, get the coins to go out and get the big packs. But if you just grind, you can grind your way through to getting to the same level. And the smart ones make it so that, yeah, it's a grind, but it's not that hard. It's not impossibly hard to get to the same level. But then you've got the pulls and you've got the return group of people. As long as 2K and Firaxis can continue to make really interesting cards that they can continue to add in packs and different things that you could do, that goes on forever. That goes on forever. And you'll have people playing this game forever.
I'm calling it. And I'm calling it a draw.
I just feel like Apex does it so well with cosmetics. And if Marvel does that, that's great. If it's cosmetic, sure.
Here's why I'm calling it a draw, because there are no packs in this game. That is not the only microtransactions that will be in the game are cosmetics, and it is a single player focused game where you are unlocking cards in order to build your deck. And then there are 6 cards that are randomly chosen as you enter an encounter with an enemy.
So that's
a little bit, yes. So I'm disqualifying both of you because most of the argument was on microtransactions and packs. So both of you disqualified. Love you both, but I gotta be honest.
People still tune in to see you get new cards.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. We have a special style of debate here.
All right.
So, listeners, if you're watching the video version, I'm going to put up an image that you briefly saw in that Midnight Suns debate before I hit it. I'm going to pull up an image here, and hopefully you could kind of see that we're going to be doing a GameCube $15 challenge, and we're going to create a debate out of it. So, first, this is how we're going to do it here. Each of you have $15. We're going to do a snake draft. So we are going to start with Cicero. Okay. Cicero, you are going to get one choice. Right. And then Justin, you will follow with 2 choices.
Oh, okay.
And then Cicero 2. And then until $15 is both used by both of you. Okay. Now, with that being said, again, you only have $15, so you could go all 5, whatever you want. But once a game is chosen, it cannot be bought by the other person.
All right.
Okay. So if Cicero buys Twilight Princess, Justin, you cannot purchase that. All right. So with that being said, let the fun begin. Cicero, your first purchase.
Oh man. So that adds a level of strategy to this that I wasn't prepared for, but I like it. I like it. And so I will start with SSX Tricky for $1.
Okay. By the way, I am writing these down here. So Cicero is SSX Tricky, and that is $1.
All right.
Interesting.
All right, Justin, go ahead. You get 2 choices.
It's just interesting you went with the $1. It's so interesting. That's some strategy right there. I'm gonna choose Melee to start because I thought he was gonna take that one.
Oh.
Okay, Melee is $4.
$4.
So, there you go. Now you got a second one.
Right.
My second one will be my big hitter, the $5 bad boy, Super Mario Sunshine.
Sunshine for $5.
Oh man!
All right.
Can't see it through that dial-up.
Yeah.
Cicero, you get 2 picks.
I get 2 picks. Man, he really. I just knew that I had my lineup. All right, so I'm gonna go up the board a little. Simpsons Hit and Run for $2.
Simpsons for $2. Cicero, you got another pick. You're at $3 total.
Yeah. Super Monkey Ball for $3.
Ooh. It's a good one.
For $3. Okay. All right, Cicero, you are at a total of 6. Justin, you're at a total of 9. What's your next choice? You get 2.
I'm going to go with Mario Strikers.
Strikers. Okay. How much was that?
2.
2, right? Okay. So you're at 11. So you have another pick here.
I'm going to go with Luigi's Mansion. $3.
For $3, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
So that leaves me with $1.
Yep. Okay. All right, Cicero, you get 2 picks.
2 picks. So, and I'm at $6.
You're at $6. Yep.
All right. Well, then I'm going to pick Animal Crossing for $3.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick. So that puts me at $9.
You're at 9. Yep.
I'm going to pick Paper Mario for $4.
All right. So, Cicero, that puts you at 13. You have $2 left. Justin, you have $1 left.
Can you
What are you
read me
taking?
the selection from the $1, please, without SSX?
Yeah, you have Star Fox Adventures. You have Rogue Leader, Star Wars Rogue Leader. You have Skies of Arcadia Legends, and you have F-Zero GX.
I'm going to go with Star Fox.
Star Fox Adventures. Okay.
Yeah.
For $1. Okay, Cicero, your final pick or final 2. You could technically take 2 twos.
I could. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Star Wars Rogue Leader and F-Zero.
Okay. Star
F-Zero.
Wars
Horizon.
for 1.
Yes.
Verizon. F-Zero for 1 as well.
Yes.
Okay. So just to recap, Cicero has purchased SSX Tricky, Simpsons Hit and Run, Super Monkey Ball, Animal Crossing, Paper Mario, Star Wars Rogue Leader, right? Or Rogue Squadron?
It's Rogue Leader.
Rogue Leader, and then F-Zero. And Justin has bought Melee, Star Fox Adventures, Sunshine, Mario Strikers, and Luigi's Mansion. So, the debate is, whose lineup is better? But, Cicero,
Yeah.
you purchased Justin's lineup. And Justin, you purchased Cicero's lineup.
Okay.
So, Cicero, you now have Melee, Star Fox, Sunshine, Strikers, and Luigi's Mansion.
Right.
Justin, you have SSX Tricky, Simpsons, Hit and Run, Super Monkey Ball, Animal Crossing, Paper Mario, Star Wars Rogue Leader, and F-Zero. Cicero, you start first.
Well, listen, if you're going to love a Nintendo console and you're gonna love the GameCube specifically, it's because you love their mascots. You love what they're able to do with their first parties, and it all starts with Super Mario Sunshine. One of the most underrated Super Mario games of all time, Super Mario Sunshine, arguably one of the best games on the GameCube, right? But if you were going to argue that Super Mario Sunshine was one of the best games on the GameCube, the other game that would be in that argument would be Super Smash Brothers Melee, right? Arguably the best of the Smash Brothers. Right? It's just that good. It's just that good. It's the game that people would go out and get controllers. In fact, when you got the Wii, you went out and you were happy you had backwards compatibility because you could play Melee. That was the game that you wanted to play. You didn't want to play Brawl. You wanted to play Melee because Melee was that game. And then, you know what? One of the great things that we were able to do with Mario was put him in other games like Super Mario Strikers. So you want to play some soccer, right? It's right there. Like, oh man, who knew soccer games could be fun? We play FIFA, that kind of, whatever. But the hyper kicks, doing all that stuff with Mario and Luigi. Oh yeah, Luigi. Luigi's that guy, right?
All right, Justin, go ahead. Justin, go ahead. No, I'm cutting you out. Justin, go ahead.
He's flipping the hat back. Hat to the back.
I'm gonna take a page out of Cicero's diary here.
Okay.
Let me take you back.
All right, let's go.
When you were a kid,
mm-hmm.
you worked at home. You did your chores.
Right.
You earned your allowance.
Mm.
You got $1, $2 here.
Wow.
You didn't get those $4 or $5. You didn't get those big hitters.
Right.
You just had a McDouble here and there. You go to the GameStop or the EB Games or the Funko Land. You only got the clearance bin. You only had the cheap games in there. You didn't have the heavy hitters.
Right.
But you didn't have to buy those big games. You didn't have to buy those big name games.
Finding those
to get a good experience on the GameCube, you got variety.
Mm.
The biggest game we got, one day we washed the dishes a little extra. We cleaned up the house. We took the garbage out. We did all of our chores. We made our bed.
Right.
We got to pick up Animal Crossing, a game that we got to do more chores in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took you out of your real world and made you do it in the fake world.
Yeah.
Great game. Big fan base. And, but then you got all this other.
This is great.
You got all these other games. You got all these other $1 and $2 games. You got Star Wars and Horizon Zero Dawn, racing. You got racing games. You got sports games. You got SSX. The cheapest game in the bin, but the best game in the bin. One of the best snowboarding games ever created. Shout out Jelly.
Yep.
Nothing tears up the white snow like that game does.
Right.
The characters and everything. You don't need to have Mario in your closet. You don't need to have Luigi or Super Smash Brothers, because you've got more games than your friend. You got all the cheap ones. And you know what? You earned those games. You did all your chores. You earned them. So they mean more to you.
I'm giving it to Justin. I'm giving this to Justin. It's just too good. All right, it's too good. Justin, you win. Thank you, guys.
Oh man!
Thank you. That was so good.
That was great.
Oh man!
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, so before we continue, Sunshine, I learned something about recently, and I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it growing up, but there was haptic feedback in that controller for that game.
Yes, sir.
Before PlayStation 5.
Yes, sir.
Years before.
Yes, sir.
To spray that water. And that is
before Xbox
huge.
One did it too.
Yep.
That is huge.
Thank you guys for indulging me with that fun debate.
Oh man,
I knew
you didn't let me finish with Luigi's Mansion and Star
You didn't need to finish. I was just like.
I wanted to give Justin a little bit of time. All right, that was a fun one. You guys, I'm glad you guys didn't suspect me switching the stuff.
Yeah, well,
So.
it didn't matter. Cicero
really
bought the bargain bin the whole time.
Oh man, the bargain! Oh man, I could argue
The bargain
crap
bin's
out of the
good.
bargain bin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of good titles.
Yeah,
I
listen,
had the variety.
man. All of the games that I got are games that you could play forever. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
All right. Yeah, for sure. And then, hey, listeners, if you like that debate style, I think if we do another one of those, like, I will tell the debaters up front that you guys are buying for each other, and then that adds a whole nother layer of strategy too.
Yeah, because
So
my head's on backwards now.
That's right.
all right, listeners, thank you for listening to the debate portion of the show. I think Cicero technically took it to 2v1 because you guys disqualified yourselves on that third one. But I think Justin takes the best argument overall because, man, I was dying. Anyway, this our leaderboard section we're heading on into. And this was a suggestion from Justin himself. So, Justin, why don't you explain the process here?
Now, you put license. That means movie to license, or
Yeah, so like any intellectual property that was not originally a game.
yeah. So we're doing the top 5 worst licensed games. That means from movie, from book to game. Whatever it is, licensed property, the top 5 worst. So it's not the best anymore. It's not a leaderboard. It's a loser board. And we putting it down.
All right.
So, Justin, since you thought of this, you go ahead first. What are your 3 worst licensed video games?
I'm going to go with E.T. on the 2600. I beat it. As best as you can.
E.T.?
I beat it, man. I sat down and I played it. The best you can beat it. It's pretty broken, but
so here's something that you don't know. E.T.'s got a manual.
Yeah.
If it's 37 pages long, if you read that manual, you'll actually learn how to play the game.
Oh, I know how to play the game.
It's not broken. It's just ridiculously complicated.
It's a good game.
All right, so first we have.
It's a good game.
As I shake
first
my head,
we
no.
have E.T. I'm sorry.
There's
I'm
no reason
trying to
it's in the
pull up the
laptop.
outline to type it in for us so that we could see. Go ahead, Justin, with your second one here.
I'm going to leave my second pick for someone else because I'm sure Mike will pick that one. I'm going to go with Sonic the Hedgehog, the 2006 game on Xbox 360, PS3.
That's not licensed.
Well, it was a TV show back in the day.
It was a video game first.
All right.
Choose a different one.
Okay.
Wow. Whoa, tough judge.
Particular.
Right.
Okay. The PS1 Independence Day.
Okay.
God. Take one of it hit hard because it's one of my favorite movies of all time, and to make it so bad. Ugh. And then I'll do the NES Friday the 13th.
LJN game.
All right, Cicero.
Acclaim.
Your top
but
3 worst.
Yeah, you were next in the line. Okay, well, fine. Then my top 3 worst are Superman 64.
Oh,
really
well, I
doesn't
left
get
it for
much-
Mike, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It really doesn't get much worse than that.
I didn't beat that one.
Yeah.
Nope.
I don't
Flying
think a
through
lot of
rings?
people did.
Spawn, the video game.
Really?
Yes.
I enjoyed
Did
that
you
game.
really?
I played the Xbox one. I think the Super Nintendo one as well.
No, it could have been a Super Nintendo.
I think so. Maybe it was N64.
Yeah, Super Nintendo is that was.
Yeah, I enjoyed
big
this.
difference.
I enjoyed this one. I wish they would make another one.
That game took like 17. There was like 17 button pressers to get
Yeah.
the claws to come out, and they would just fall to the ground. Third most terrible licensed game would be. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna pull this one out for you. Sneak King.
Oh wow, the Burger King game.
The Burger King game.
Actually,
Yes.
out of all the Burger King games, yeah, I'd say that was the worst one. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they were all bad. They were
Well,
all
the
bad.
racing one. The
racing one was okay. The racing one was okay.
Yeah.
Sneak
The
King,
other one was like the burger mini games and stuff.
Right. The Sneak King was scary because it was the king in the giant porcelain head, like sneaking around your house and like peeking in windows and doing stuff.
Just giving a burger to people.
Yeah. It was nightmare inducing. But then when you played the game, it was just horrible.
You would literally hide and stuff and scare people. That was the point.
And
Jump out.
Then give them whoppers.
They give them whoppers.
It's kind of remarkable that those 3 games were made. These are for those people that don't know, in the mid to late aughts, Burger King had a promotion that they ran with Microsoft for the Xbox 360, where they had 3 actual Xbox 360 games that they gave away to customers who came to Burger King to get some kind of meal. So there was a kart racer, there was the Sneak King game, and then there was like a game full of mini games. And
if you go to any game store, they're in the bargain bin where I got all those other games from the last debate.
Right.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, they're in the quarter bin though.
Yeah, they're
not in the dollar bin.
Those are the I don't want to get a gumball today, Mom. I'm gonna get this.
Oh man. Okay. So a lot of my experience with licensed games have been like superhero stuff, stuff that you would think would be decent, just make me play like the person, but no. So there is a video game that I remember playing on the Sega Genesis, and it was based on Batman Forever.
Oh.
And that game was awful. It was just so bad. The game had no concept of helping you in the slightest, and not that I need my hand held in a video game, but I should at least know where to go. That sort of thing. So
is that the one with the grapple where you had to grapple up through the ceiling?
I can't remember. It was so long ago. So bad. I was gonna take Superman 64. That's for sure.
You can take Aquaman 64.
Was that just as bad?
Oh yeah. Same engine, just underwater.
Oh.
Yeah.
At least you could see where you were. Maybe. Still had to swim through rings.
Oh, it's even on a list here. Batman Forever on the SNES and Genesis. It's even on a list here. That's hilarious.
Aquaman Battle for Atlantis was the name of that game, not 64, but yes.
Okay. Dang, I was gonna choose Superman 64.
I left it for you. Cicero stole it.
Nah, Cicero. I mean,
you should have gone
honestly,
second. You were
bad.
second in the list. Yeah.
Honestly, it is bad. So, let's see here.
I got backups too.
Oh boy. Keep talking. Vamp.
Vamp. All right. Yeah. So Aquaman Battle for Atlantis was never actually on the 64. It was the same engine as Superman 64, but it came out it was released for the Nintendo GameCube and the Xbox in 2003. Really? It received a Metacritic score of 27 on the GameCube and 26 on the Xbox. It basically was Superman 64, just underwater. The same nonsensical kind of repetitive action that you received in Superman 64.
It's so sad that there's so many good games on the 64, and then that's right in the transition to GameCube, and they messed everything up.
Right. Okay, I do remember one that I was going to do.
Okay.
It was the Avatar: The Last Airbender video game.
Ooh.
It was so bad. In fact, most people just picked it up just for 1,000 gamer score because you could literally get it in the first level just by spamming the X button. So yeah, that was pretty bad. And then let's see, the final one. I'm gonna go with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, but it's the more recent one.
Oh, not the original for the NES?
No, not the original.
The original for the NES.
You're talking about when they went 3D, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's the most recent one. I'm looking for the title again. Oh, okay, here. Mutants in Manhattan.
Oh.
So this had a really interesting and not very likable art style. Kind of like in the vein of like Wolf Among Us. It's kind of similar.
I think
art
Borderlands,
style.
Yeah.
Borderlands type deal.
Cell shaded. It's cell shaded.
Yeah, but it just had a bunch of game breaking bugs too, and it just wasn't the best licensed video game. So
and some may call it the worst.
yeah. Let's do that, and then what else did I say? I said Avatar, and then I said I don't even remember. All right, what's your must-have? I'll remember. Justin, what's your must-have on the list?
I'm gonna go with Independence Day because it hit home with me. You know, to take something I love so much and just to destroy it.
All right, that's a must-have. Cicero, what's your must-have?
Must-have for my list. I'm gonna go with Sneak King.
All right, sounds good. Must-have from my list is the Avatar game.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have debated against it. I used to chase achievements, so it was easy for me.
So for the last two, I would argue that the GOATs of this list are E.T. and Superman 64.
Yeah. I wouldn't argue against that, Justin.
Nah, that's good. I would put E.T. hands down without a list. That would be up there on the top.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Like it is
just the sounds. If you weren't even playing it, you're just listening.
Right.
The sounds alone.
Right. Yes.
All right, so that
sounds like a modem, you know?
Yeah, DSL. Brr. Okay. Listeners, that completes our leaderboard. The top 5 worst licensed video games. We're talking about Independence Day, Sneak King, Avatar, E.T., and Superman 64. Those last two being the two of the most infamous ones out there. So, all right, listeners, once again, a reminder, I'll have the winner of the gift card at the end of this video. So, and then I'll be messaging you on Twitter. So just, I will let you know if you have won said debate. And then, just go ahead and check out, once again, the review of the Batman Long Halloween. It was amazing. A lot of fun. So talking to Chris Clow. So leave us a review. Cicero, we can find you at Stubby Stan, correct? Everywhere?
That is correct, sir.
That is correct. Good to hear. And then Justin, usually Rubber Duck, but I believe on Twitter you are Justin Justin M 2500.
Yeah, something like that. Some Twitter handle.
Some Twitter handle. You're there. All of us from the 90s Furs. My name is Mike. For Cicero and Justin as well. We will see you guys later. Party on, Wade.
Party on, Garth. It's Rubber Duck 2500.
Somebody said it.
Go take your grandpa to the store.
Sharif. Justin didn't say it last week. Bye.